With gas prices soaring, California lawmakers and the governor both look to help with new proposals.
Coming up, San Jose State on-campus maintenance workers march for better working conditions and wages.
A new community health clinic is set to open, providing health services to East and South San Jose families.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communications at San Jose State University, your source for what's happening with a fresh perspective on today's issues. You're watching Update News.
Welcome to Update News. I'm Allison Cruz.
And I'm Savannah Ceballos. We begin with a class action lawsuit filed against San Jose State University. It accuses the university of not watching out for their students in its care. The lawsuit comes on the heels of federal charges of sexual misconduct filed against the university's former director of sports medicine. He's accused of sexually abusing former female students. Reporter Jesus Deletur has the story.
A class action lawsuit filed against San Jose State accuses the university of, quote, turning their back on the well-being of young students in their care. This comes after former SJSU head athletic trainer and director of sports medicine Scott Shaw was hit with federal crime charges of sexual misconduct last week. According to Palo Alto lawyer Shaunik Darup, more than 1,000 women could be alleged victims. Shaw arrived in 2006. The university issued a statement saying SJSU and the CSU are aware of and currently reviewing the filing with the Santa Clara County Superior Court. The safety and well-being of the CSU communities remain a top priority for SJSU and the CSU. We will continue to be transparent and provide updates at the appropriate times. SJSU women's swimming and diving coach Sage Hopkins had the following statement. The most important thing is the healing of our affected student athletes. Shaw and those who enabled his predation being held accountable is an important step in that process. The university agreed to pay a $5 million settlement to 24 victims of Shaw, but the fallout from the sex scandal continues to mount. In San Jose, Jesus Teletude, Update News.
San Jose State maintenance workers held a march on campus this week. They were part of a larger protest across the California State University system. The workers accused the university of unfair wages and understaffing. Reporter Jonathan Schaefer was at the scene.
The workers are part of a union, and they accuse the CSU system of not negotiating a new bargaining agreement. They say this issue has been ongoing for 3 years now.
All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. We can't take it anymore.
Teamsters Local 2010 is the union that represents the facilities workers at all 23 Cal State universities. This week, the maintenance workers who keep the SJSU campus intact and repaired marched through the crowds, promoting a change in their pay.
What's important is not seeing what's going on, knowing what's going on, and wanting to be a part of change for the community of San Jose State.
If we don't get it, shut it down. If we don't get it, shut it down.
Negotiations of a new bargaining agreement were stalled back in 2020 when COVID-19 hit San Jose, and if no new agreement is reached anytime soon, things can escalate.
If the Teamsters don't get what they want, they're thinking about striking and shutting down CSU.
Teamsters Secretary, Treasurer, and Principal Officer Jason Rabinowitz says that all workers will stand together and urges CSU officials to get back to negotiations on the new agreement immediately.
Well, this is our week of action. This rally you saw today, this is happening all across the state with CSU, Teamsters, picketing, marching, and sending the message that we're standing together and we're not going to stop fighting until we have a fair contract. So what happens next is hopefully that CSU gets back to the table. They've been stalling. They used the fact that Chancellor Castro resigned as an excuse to stall bargaining. And we need them to get back to the table, make a fair offer, and get fair raises for these workers that have been keeping the place running all these years.
We reached out to San Jose State officials to get the response to the allegations made by the workers, but I've not heard from anyone so far. But this story is far from over. In San Jose, I'm Jonathan Schaefer, Update News.
Families in South and East San Jose will soon have free access to mental health services and much more thanks to a community clinic. Reporter Christian Tujano has more on how some San Jose State professors came together to bring these services to those in need.
Whether you are struggling in school or are a parent looking for help, you'll soon be able to get it for free at Oak Grove High School. Nestled inside the school is the San Jose State Healthy Development Community Clinic. The 3-year project is set to open in June. This clinic will offer free screenings, evaluations, and mental health treatment to children up to 18 years old. SJSU graduate students will staff it under the supervision of expert clinical researchers. SJSU professor Nidhi Mahendra, one of the founders of the clinic, said these free services are available on campus, but they are not easily accessible to everyone in the city.
You have many mountains of barriers to cross to say, I'm gonna get my child or my teenager, drive all the way to SJSU, pay for parking, look for parking, and take time off from work and then come to seek services.
She said the hope was to make that struggle easier by going to a local high school in the community. But getting the community on board will take some time.
We don't know how the community will immediately respond, but we're hoping that we're really paving the way to integrating the community in some of our decisions.
The clinic is a collaborative effort between the SJSU Lurie College of Education and the Eastside Union High School District. It will have 12 individual and family therapy rooms, 2 large conference rooms, and collaborative spaces for workshops and classes. The clinic will not only offer the community access to multiple services, but it will also train students.
Being able to come to one spot and have a lot of different needs met, we're hoping will reduce barriers. And we're hoping that by coming to this place, one space, we can support them in a lot of different ways.
The clinic got a $500,000 grant from the federal spending bill President Biden recently signed. The money will help pay for staffing. In South San Jose, I'm Christian Trujano, Update News.
As gas prices continue to go through the roof, California lawmakers are looking at ways to ease the pain at the pump. They have one proposal and Governor Gavin Newsom has another. Both are designed to offset the 51-cent per gallon state gas tax, but voters are conflicted about whether that's enough to make a big dent.
This rebate, if passed, will be pulled from California's $900 billion surplus. This proposal is an alternative to suspending the 51-cent gas tax, which was proposed by the Republican Party but voted against by the Democrats.
This proposal would give $400 to all California taxpayers. We know that everyone all across the state, we're feeling the pain at the pump.
With the recent skyrocketing gas prices and living expenses, many residents are saying they are hesitant to agree with the proposal because there are both pros and cons.
It's hard to say one way or the other because we have a lot of homeless people that are going to be getting this. What are they getting it for? Because a lot of them don't drive.
The purpose of this rebate is to help Californians combat the recent gas price inflation. The money does not have restrictions and can be used for whatever people please.
I think it's a good thing because it's going to help people that are struggling and especially commuters since they're constantly filling up their tanks. But also it kind of really doesn't help being that gas prices are so expensive.
If this proposal is passed, Californians can expect to see this rebate as early as this spring. But Governor Gavin Newsom just pitched his own plan. It would give $400 debit cards to each car owner with a limit of 2. Electric car owners would also qualify. And if you don't own a car, the state would pay your bus or train fare for 3 months. If lawmakers approve the governor's plan, car owners could get the money starting in July. When we come back,
we asked students their thoughts on lawmakers considering making daylight saving time permanent. As spring begins, so does allergy season for a lot of people.
Coming up next, I will show you what the weather will look like this upcoming spring break.
We explore ways that first-generation students can learn generational wealth.
Spring has sprung, and for some people that means stocking up on allergy medicine. Reporter Brianna Mathaw spoke to some experts who are blaming climate change for the longer pollen season ahead.
Yes, and I talked to both meteorologist and climate science professor to find out why pollen season is sticking around longer than normal. As April approaches, some may think it is too early for allergy season unless you work outside and go outside frequently like Humra. Humra works at Target for drive-up.
It's really hot right now and I'm working and I keep sneezing and my eyes are watering.
As temperatures rise periodically, people notice they start to sneeze and have itchy eyes as it becomes hotter out. As sunny days approach sooner, that can mean spring can last longer, which has an effect on climate change, meaning longer times for plants to grow, leading to more pollen season. Expect to see your allergy symptoms grow as the days ahead become hotter.
Runny nose, itchy eyes, sneezing, all of that. And it gets really annoying, so I have to take an allergy pill like almost every morning.
It is safe to say you might need to stock up on allergy medicine sooner rather than later.
Spring is starting sooner. So we're having shorter and shorter winters. So our spring is setting off in like January, it feels like these days. This year, definitely.
In San Jose, I'm Brianna Mathaw, Update News. If you do suffer with allergies, it's important to contact your doctor to find out how you can get through these long spring and summer seasons.
Generational wealth is a term many first-generation Latinx students learn while embarking on their ongoing journey of many firsts. From being the first to attend college or investing in the stock market, I explore different ways the student pioneers of Latinx communities can achieve generational wealth.
Although the word generational wealth could seem like a mouthful, the meaning is quite simple. It's essentially passing down money that serves as a financial foundation for families and their future kids. This money is usually passed down through any assets of cash flow, investment funds, stocks and bonds, or even property. But for some first-generation college students, navigating this unknown financial territory alone could be tricky, but not impossible.
In one word, I'd say confusing because my parents aren't very knowledgeable about financial aid. Loans is something new we had to figure out together.
So ask yourself this. Can your parents fund your college education fully without taking loans? If yes, instead of playing catch up to pay any student loan debt, you can find ways to save for your first home or future retirement plan. And for those who answer no, here are some ways you can do so. Educate yourself on passive income. Consider a high interest savings account. If you're creative, optimize your social media and invest in yourself in the stock market. San Jose State has resources that assist first-generation students coming from lower-income areas and want to learn more about how they could build generational wealth.
First-generation students can start with the resources offered at their university to learn more about the opportunities that will set them up for a greater financial success.
It's called the Sunshine Protection Act, and the U.S. Senate already passed it with a unanimous vote. Now it's up to the House of Representatives. It would make daylight savings time permanent. Sounds good? But what are the repercussions, and what are people saying about it? Niku Parsisade has been looking into that.
Department of Transportation says daylight saving time conserves energy, prevents traffic accidents, and reduces crimes.
But some health experts say it would disturb our sleep and our internal clocks that could lead to increased illnesses. What do you think? That's the question we asked in this week's State of the Spartans.
Okay, I'm more for the daylight savings being permanent because I like the sunshine for longer and the dark. When it gets darker earlier, I feel more lazy. I just want to be inside, especially being a girl and being out. I'm more scared to be out in the nighttime.
If it were to just stay the same, I don't think it would have that much of a difference. I guess I'm kind of used to it by now, but I like having more daylight.
It means more daylight later in the day, and I always prefer that. I'm not really a morning person, so I like it when it's sunnier later in the day. So I like that.
It's unclear when the House will even take up the bill. It faces some opposition there. If it should pass, it wouldn't take effect until November next year. In San Jose, Niku Parsisade, Update News.
And now we have Rodri Smith with the weather.
Hi, I'm Rodri Smith, and this is this week's forecast for you. After a week where we saw records to near records high, we'll be seeing some cooling as we approach the weekend, with some clouds leading up to a chance of rain by Sunday. The futurecast shows clouds increasing, and we'll likely see an increase of wind during this weekend, with the best chance of rain arriving on Sunday. Unfortunately, in drought-concerned areas, the rain totals are looking fairly low to moderate, but still will be welcome to hopefully reducing the fire danger for a time coming into next week. And now let's look at our 7-day forecast. Let's start off with Santa Cruz. This weekend, we can see a little bit of rain again coming in on Sunday. Saturday is going to be a high of 65 with a low of 54. Sunday again with a high of 59 with a low of 54. Again, now in San Francisco, we'll start off with Saturday with a high of 62 with a low of 55. In Oakland, we see on Saturday again 65 with a low of 50. Coming into on Sunday as well, 61 is the highest. Now everyone in San Jose, it's spring break coming up. Let's enjoy this weekend a little bit on Saturday with a high of 73, but a low of 55. Again, with some chance of rain on Sunday. My name is Rodri Smith, and thank you for listening. Back to you guys in the studio.
When we come back.
SJSU Athletics has a new superfan who's turning heads in the stands. Coming up, the San Jose State women's gymnastics win big for the 4th time in school history.
San Jose State's women's gymnastics team has claimed the 2022 champion title for the Mountain Pacific Sports Federation meet at UC Davis. This moves the team forward to compete at the Seattle Regionals next week. Reporter Grace Pang spoke with the coaches and team about the big win.
The Spartans won the 2022 champion with the 3rd highest score in school history.
It was probably the most high energy meet we've had this whole year. We really had to stay in our own bubble and support each other in order to do well. And we did that and we won, and it was awesome. And I'm just so proud of this team and how far everyone has come along and how everyone has trusted the process to get us where we are today.
Mountain Pacific Sports Federation recognized Coaches of the Year Joanne Bowers and James Williams, led the team to new heights for the season.
We just watched the selection show together, and we are placed at the Seattle Regionals, and we'll be at University of Washington. I coached there for 10 years. I'm familiar with the area. We stay on our same time zone. It's close by. We can bring fans. I appreciate all the support because it truly does take a village to get to this point, but it really takes everybody. I want to do a shout out to our trainer now. Shout out to my 2 assistant coaches, James Williams and Neil Gallant, and just couldn't do it without them.
We were just talking about that as coaches. Do we think there's going to be a distraction? We think the ladies deserve it though. We think they've worked their tails off. No matter what, let's give them the full experience. Hopefully we can be mature enough when it's time to step out on the floor and do their thing. We're bringing everyone, and this is going to be the first time we've traveled everyone to a flying trip. Even though they physically can't be on the floor, their energy is going to be with us. So I think these ladies have a chance too if they bring it, just like they did the conference championship.
So it was definitely a hard season for us to get through last year. We couldn't even make it to regionals, like it wasn't possible. It was definitely rough, but this year we had a full preseason. We all went home. We made sure to put in the training and the work, and it's definitely showing and paying off for us. I think that we have a great team atmosphere, and our first meet is against Stanford, which is next Wednesday at 3 p.m. So I think we have a good chance at beating them.
I just want to say we are so excited that we made it to regionals. You know, hasn't happened a long time, but I feel like this team has something really good happening, and we're all just very excited.
Don't forget to support our home team by tuning in to the live stream meet. In San Jose, I'm Grace Pang for Update News.
An unexpected latex-made duck head may appear on the sidelines if you're lucky. And the culprit? SJSU freshman student, aka Dak, the SJSU Duck, a former student athlete trying to change the game in the Spartan Spirit aisle. Zulema Ganawe has the story.
You won't know my real identity until I actually graduate. So.
An unexpected latex-made duck head may appear on the sidelines if you're lucky. The culprit, SJSU freshman student, aka Dak the SJSU Duck, a former student athlete trying to change the game in the Spartan Spirit aisle.
Really anything that that's keeping me doing it is just the fact that, like, heck, I love sports. I love watching sports.
Within a short amount of time since he became Dak the SJSU Duck, Dak has gained supporters and fans from all different shapes and sizes, from avid spotters at games to younger kids shadowing him as Duckling has. Dak the Duck felt touched by Duckling's effort in being his partner.
Kid sits next to me. He said he's a big fan of what I do, and I'm honestly touched. And even though he's only like 11 or 12, I don't know his specific age. He sparked the idea of becoming like a mini duckling because he loves what I do, and he kind of wanted to do the same thing. And I gave him the Amazon link, and little did I know he would actually do it. So he showed up to the next game in duck mask and just started copying everything I do, like getting the crowd involved, getting hype, and just doing everything like that. So
Dak continues to add supporters to his list, with SJSU's men's basketball head coach Tim Miles mentioning him during a press conference. Dak becoming part of the team.
The Duck's a good man. We appreciate him, and we want to get that bread too. He's part of the rebuild. He's in. He's part of the inspiration.
In San Jose, Zulema Ganawe, Update News.
And that does it for this week's edition of Update News.
From all of us here, thanks for joining us and see you next week.